Namely, this is the AM News on the AM show. Let's get into the details. The Volta Regional Minister James Gunu says the devastation caused by coastal erosion in the southern parts of the Volta region is a national security threat, calling for emergency interventions to curb the destruction and ensure the safety and well-being of residents in the affected communities. Speaking during the presentation of some relief items to the victims, he stated that government will prioritize the well-being of the people to mitigate the destruction caused by the sea. Over 100 homes have been destroyed as the sea claims communities along the southern Volta. There's more in this report.
Makafi Atai was born and raised up in the Agave community of the Ketu South municipality in the Volta region. Her home and survival are threatened by the devastations of coastal erosion, which continue to wash away her community. The recent incidents left the community devastated as homes and cemeteries, among others, were affected. This is my father's house. I stayed here since infancy. The sea used to be some kilometers away, but in 2019, we started experiencing coastal erosions. We were at the roadside, far away from the sea, but the erosion had gotten to us. You see the sea hit the wall. It makes a loud noise, and then the wall collapses. It is having a psychological effect on us. The Volta Regional Minister, James Gunu, was left in shock after assessing the devastation caused.
Has actually made it a national security issue. Houses have been washed away, cemeteries are gone, and a lot of things, and the psychological trauma that the people are going through, including children and women, calls for urgent action. That is why we are here. Now that the road is also going, and from the look of things, communities and the land behind the road is far, far below sea level. So if nothing is done urgently and we allow the sea to cross the road continuously, the degree of devastation that we'll see cannot be contained.
In the interim, some relief items were presented to the over 510 victims affected by the recent disaster in the enclave. However, the residents appealed for the completion of the sea defense to protect their communities. We don't need rice or maize. All we need is for them to complete the sea defense so we can be safe and take care of ourselves. A Ghana gas shelter project, where about 15 units of 2-bedroom apartments are to be constructed, has stalled. Residents are praying for its early completion to help in the proposed evacuation exercise. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Agaveji.
From the Volta region, let me take you up north because a fire outbreak at the Northern Electricity Distribution Company warehouse in Tamale has destroyed transformers, insulators and other equipment. The Ghana Fire Service responded promptly, dispatching fire tenders from the metro and hospital to bring the blaze under control. There's more in this report.
The fire, which started around 2 p.m., ravaged a portion of the warehouse, destroying some equipment. According to Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Fire Service, Baba Hudu, the fire team arrived in good time and was able to contain the fire.
Tamale Metro Fire Station and the Tamale Teaching Hospital Fire Station crew arrived to the scene, and upon arrival, the fire actually engulfed a section of this warehouse. So quickly, they have to ensure that fire do not spread to other parts of the warehouse. And within no time, they were able to prevent the fire from spreading. However, considering the nature of the fuel, fire was actually becoming aggressive. when water is used to extinguish. So because of that, we have to also deploy other means of extinguishing. So we use the foam concentrate to be able to subside the fire.
Corporate Communications Director of NEDCO, Maxwell Kotoka, has assured that the fire would not disrupt power distribution in the area. He explained that the affected warehouse is the central storage facility for the company's equipment and materials.
What we have seen is that a good number of items have suffered, yes, but we haven't done a thorough examination of the situation or a thorough assessment of the situation. It may just well be that fire may have touched some of the packaging, but if you examine thoroughly and we are lucky, probably we can retrieve some items from the fire. It's early days yet, so we cannot put a figure to it. What we can assure the general public is that we will continue to do our level best, and as much as is humanly possible, it will not affect the continued supply of electricity.
Let's get into politics now. And the minority in Parliament has refused to attend the 3-day orientation program for members of the House, currently ongoing in the Volta Serene Hotel in Ho. Now, according to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, the minority, through a notice, protested the cost of the event, hence their withdrawal. He described as unfortunate their decision for the development of the country's democracy while addressing the opening ceremony of the orientation program. There's more.
We lost a very great opportunity because the turbulence of Parliament once again has shown. I only saw a WhatsApp message last night that our colleagues, our brothers and sisters of the New Patriotic Party have opted out, giving a reason that is completely unacceptable. There's good reason why we choose venues for this. It's not partisan. There's always a search party, and they go around, discuss with the various hospitalities, look at the cost components, the facilities, their suitability, the convenience of your movement, because there are other pressures on you, and there are score marks before we decide where to go. There's no partisanship in this at all. This time around, the parliamentary service followed the same. That is what is done. The final results are brought to the Speaker. And until I have a very good reason why it shouldn't be at that place, I just give my approval. And to have 276 members of Parliament and staff, because the staff work with you. And if you don't build the capacity of the staff, the institution, they will not be in the position to serve you, to provide what you need to be able to satisfy the immeasurable, unlimited demands of the country, of your people, and of the world. So it's usually a large number of people. The reason is that the cost component is too much, and they don't want to be part of that. We don't want to talk. Please don't allow your political differences to enslave you. Don't be also enslaved by our history. And that's one of the biggest challenges we have in this country. What our grandfathers did is what has enslaved us.
Hashtag no Galamsey, hashtag stop Galamsey now are still on. But in a rare move, illegal miners have blocked the river Ankobra at separate points within the Pristia Heman town and Awudua, a small community in the western region, preventing it from flowing. Joy News can confirm the miners are now mining with excavators directly in the Ankobra River Basin. Now, Erastus Asari Donko reports mining on the Ankobra, which started over a year ago, has now turned the major water source into a stagnated pool. He is part of a special advisory team set up by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to investigate the extent of illegal mining across the country to inform policy direction, and now he reports.
To better understand the workings and impact of illegal mining activities, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources set up this team of experts to embark on a fact-finding trip across the country. We made a stop at the estuary where the Ankobra joins the sea.
A green-looking Ankobra River. This is the estuary where the river Ankobra joins the sea. It has not been this green for a very long time, but it could be deceptive. We are here to tell you the story of a green Ankobra and probably why it is looking green, though what is making it milky brown is still happening across the length and breadth of this great resource. Come with me as we find out what could probably be a mirage.
We took a ride on the Ankobra from the estuary to gauge the mood of the river. At high tide, the sea has made tremendous gains into the Ankobra, spreading its green salty water to cover the polluted shame of the river.
How does it taste like?
It tastes like salty because the sea have entered the Ankobra. So it's salty, you cannot drink. But Ankobra itself is not salty.
But about 40 minutes into our boat ride, the color starts to change. At Eshiemu, we come across mining activities inches away from the Ankobra, violating government's buffer zone policies. This man, who identifies himself as Lopez, showed us documents covering his concession but admits the illegalities on the grounds. The real color of the Ankobra is now visible from here. At Awudua, close to Pristia, we made a shocking discovery. The Ankobra has been blocked and contained for mining purposes.
And those of you who have been contemplating and praising the new color of the Ankobra, this is the real color of the river Ankobra. As you can see, this is a mining hub within the river itself. So the river has been blocked, redirected, and you can see that it's not really flowing well. And it's camped here at Awudua.
Even more shocking is the complete blockade of the river at Pristia Heman, close to the bridge. The illegal miners have separated the river and built an embankment to prevent the river from flowing. They are now mining directly in the basin of the stagnated Ankobra River.
What we have found here at Pristia Heman is what can be described as total madness. This is the Ankobra River, and it will shock you to know that illegal miners, nature criminals, have been able to block a major river like the Ankobra, and so you can see the blockade over there. They've blocked entirely the river. So the flow from upstream has been blocked here, as you can see. And then they are mining in the basin itself. That is what we are seeing here. And it is shocking to know that an entire community superintended over this, supported it, with the authorities, the chiefs and people supporting the blockade of a major river like the Ankobra for illegal mining purposes.
The river is now a stagnated brown pool beneath the Pristia Heman Bridge.
For these people, their survival depends on a clean Ankobra which is not polluting the sea. For the local economy to thrive and for their survival to be assured, government needs to work on a pollution-free Ankobra. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Ankobra Town, Western Region.
Moving on, the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital is highlighting its achievements and challenges during its 2024 performance review program, dubbed Advancing Care with Resilient Sustenance and Effective Stakeholder Engagement. In his address, the hospital CEO, Eric Kofi Njedu, stated that research conducted by the teaching hospital had contributed to the evidence-based practices and policy formulation over the past year. Abigail Nkrumah has more in this report.
At the 2024 Performance Review Program of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, the CEO of the hospital, Eric Kofi Njedu, highlighted some of the evidence-based practices done by the hospital in the past year.
Research. The hospital actively engages in cutting-edge research across various disciplines, contributing to evidence-based practices and policy formulation. Notable examples are exceptional dyspnea incidentally diagnosed in psychosis, the importance of post-discharge clinical site infection surveillance, adaptation of the wound healing questionnaire universal reporter outcome measure for use in global surgery trials, what they call the Talon One Study.
The Central Regional Minister, Ekopin Eduamwa Ochri, shared his thoughts on the theme for the program, commending the health institution on its services.
I am well aware of the remarkable stride made by the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital in enhancing healthcare services. The hospital's initiatives such as free eye surgeries, plastic surgeries, cleft lip operations, orthopedic surgeries, and ENT procedures have relieved many vulnerable citizens.
Festus Kran, the acting director of pharmaceutical services, who represented the health minister, had this to say.
Financing for healthcare is a critical component of providing high-quality care and sustaining resilient health systems.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Did you know Mole National Park is nearly 1.5 times the size of Greater Accra region? But that's not all. Mole is the only game reserve in the country that spans 3 regions and 5 districts, offering an unparalleled blend of biodiversity and cultural richness. Northern Regional Correspondent Martina Bugri has more in our Ghana Month series for today.
The Mole National Park is home to Ghana's largest game reserve, arguably the reserve that has the largest natural animal inhabitants.
Welcome to the Mole National Park. In the Ghana Month series, we take a tour around the park to show you the beauty of the Mole National Park and the animals in there, the plants and the birds as well. Come along with me as we go to the wild.
Established in 1958, it was named after the River Mole. A visitor to the park would definitely live there with fond memories and inspired. The park has over 60 mammals, among other animal species. Rakim Yusuf tells us about the park.
In summary of the park, we have 94 species of mammals, 33 reptiles, 9 amphibians, 350 bird species, and over 700 tree species.
The animals are welcoming, which offers tourists the opportunity to get up close with these animals.
Behind me is an elephant, one of the several animals you will find when you visit the Mole National Park. Friendly as they are, you can get closer to these animals.
Mole National Park, we have only the savanna elephant. Scientific name is Lazadanta africana. They are bigger than the Asian elephant and that of the forest elephant. The second difference is that whether it is a male or female, they have the ivory or the tax. Asian and forest elephants is only the males that has the ivory. These are animal species that can stay 50 to 60 years before they die. Few instances, some exceed 70, maximum 75 years.
So what makes Mole the preferred destination for visitors? Patience Teteji shares her thoughts.
So big that it covers a land area or a land area of 4,577 square kilometers, which is very greater than almighty Greater Accra. Mole National Park is so unique in the sense that it has this variety of biodiversity in terms of flora and fauna. Talking about the flora aspect, you have diverse plant species moving for the diverse and distributed unevenly even in the park. So it makes Mole quite unique compared to other protected areas. No, though we are networked one way or the other, and also it's interlinked with other cultural sites where you have ancient or archaeological aspects that falls within the park.
For those looking for a serene atmosphere, the park's motel is an ideal choice. Gordon Lau, the facility manager, highlights its uniqueness.
We are structured in a way that we are able to capture almost every packet. That is, we have different types of rooms. So depending on your packet, and you go in for that. So the experience here is actually different from the urban area, dining whilst there's wild animal around that harming you. People dine and then the elephant is very close to them. By the pool, the elephant is feeding on a flower or whatever. And that makes it so unique.
Whether you are a nature lover, wildlife enthusiast, or simply looking for a tranquil getaway, Mole National Park has something for everyone. For Joy News, Martina Bugri reporting.
Coming up next, business updates with Benjamin Akakbo.
Welcome to Business Updates. Now, the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association says its investment trust will be operationalized very soon. Immediate past president of the association, Patrick Ebubonfo, says this is part of efforts to address demand-side challenges in the housing sector. He spoke to Joy Business at the association's annual general meeting.
Our industry has been facing challenges when it comes to the home mortgage financing. The banks are doing their best, but it's not enough. And for real growth to take place in our industry, we need to have a real estate investment trust portfolio. That in our case, we are pushing so they can champion our home mortgage finance activities so that members can freely build and concentrate on building. And what they do is that the real estate investment trust come and take over these properties once they are all built. And then they on lend, or they sell off, or they rent it out to the members of the public. So the developer gets his income back to continue building. So these are some of the things, the reasons why we have had to go out of our way to set up the real estate investment trust.
In our next story, the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council says it aims to leverage the African Continental Free Trade Area to boost partnerships and investments in Ghana and across the continent. Just days ago, a delegation from the international agency facilitating trade and investment throughout the 56 member nations of the Commonwealth held discussions with President John Mahama on building and mutual growth through investments. Rosie Glazebrook is the Chief Executive of Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, and she's been speaking with Joy News' Blessed Suga.
There's a number of opportunities here that happen now. I think having the new government and having the smooth transition means that businesses will be able to look at Ghana and understand that there will be a more secure way of looking at investment here. I think the first is to have the honour of meeting your new president, who I met yesterday with our delegation, who are with me from Canada, UK and Sri Lanka. My visit, I go to Kenya later today and then on to Tanzania after that, is to understand how we can leverage these links. There's 21 countries of the Commonwealth in Africa, so using that block to really support the AFCFTA is part of the things that we want to do. And as the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, we have focused on, we'll be focusing on it and have done so in the past, on how we can put that on the global stage as an opportunity that really needs to be grasped.
And that's our recap of our business updates for the morning. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Thanks, Ben. And that wraps the AM News Bulletin on the AM show. Let's get now into our news review segment. Dr. Samaye is from the NDC Communications team. Dr. Ezekiel Obing is from the NPP Communications Directorate. They join us to review the newspapers. Please stay.